Well, I picked 3 out of 4 right. Of course, the way these games unfolded, it could have easily been 1 out of 4 because I had Seattle and I had Pittsburgh, and those games could have easily gone the other way, but did not. So 3 out of 4, not bad. I'll take that. Ken Trahan, sportsNOLAtv. So the results are in from Wildcard Weekend, and what did we learn? I'll start off. Usually I'll let you guys talk, but I'm going to start here. Experience matters, as I wrote at sportsNOLA.com. Experience in the playoffs matters. Experience at quarterback matters in these games. And I think we saw that across the board. The other thing is that you must pay attention to the regular season in terms of who teams played and what their identity is. Case in point, the Washington Redskins and the Houston Texans. They got there by winning terrible divisions, and they were exposed in the playoffs. So I think we learned that too. But when you look at these games, the experienced teams that are used to being there and the experienced quarterbacks that are used to being there were victorious. Brian, you look at these games, and first and foremost, I think you have to point to the 2 implosions, the one in Minnesota. You feel bad for the kicker, Blair Walsh. He had 2 really good field goals on a terribly cold day. Prior to that, laces were facing him. And then, of course, you look at what happened with the other game in Cincinnati, and that's an implosion based upon a couple of guys that lack discipline. But that's a problem that you know about, and you've chosen these guys, so that's where you end up. Comment on those 2 first.
Yeah, I agree totally. I'm with you, Kenny. I picked 3 of the 4. I thought Washington would take care of business, actually. I guess that's the one that maybe you missed on too. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you feel horrible for Blair Walsh, okay? And as Mike Zimmer said, that's a chip shot and you got to make it. 27 yards, and he had done such a great job with the laces facing him in a previous time. So, you know, that's a game that they're going to come back and it's going to haunt them for a long time. Not only Walsh, but the Vikings again. But that Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game, you know, I was embarrassed for the Giants-Carolina game, the way that some of those, Josh Norman particularly and Odell Beckham Jr., behaved themselves. I was embarrassed for the National Football League then. I was equally embarrassed Saturday night on primetime. The way both those teams conducted themselves in a pivotal game is just, you gotta play smart. And look, the Bengals, okay, what are they, 0-7 now under Marvin Lewis in the playoffs? Pac-Man Jones, Burfict, you can't do those kinds of things. And I hope Burfict gets fined to the max, okay? And again, I'm making a point here. Joey Porter for the Steelers, that assistant coach, doesn't belong on the field, okay? That doesn't excuse what Pac-Man Jones does. But you hate to see a game come down and be decided by just stupid thoughts by players, stupid actions by players. So they're not stupid, their actions are stupid.
Well, you know, I looked at the games, and it was no room for what Pac-Man did.
No,
you know what I mean?
not.
Because he had nothing to do with the play. The other guy, you know, he went for the headshot. He went to hurt the guy. He wanted to hurt the guy. So he got what he deserved. And for the coaches coming on the field, you know what I mean, I don't think that assistant coach should come on the field. The head coach should take care of that, but I'm sure they'll address that problem.
Yeah.
But that was, you know what I mean, after you see a guy get hit like that, I guess he thought the guy might have been real serious or hurt or paralyzed or something. So it's probably his instinct just brought him out there. But there's no reason for what Cincinnati guy did. And then you come to the Minnesota game, a guy with your last name, Mr. Little Chip Shot, but he had made 3 good kicks before that, and the lace was turning the same way. So, you know, I was looking for him to make that, but he missed that, and that take away the fumble that Peterson made, I mean, because you still had a chance to win the game. So now, I mean, you know, and just like the guy from Cincinnati, he's going to feel like he lost the game. He didn't lose the game. Make them make that 55, 60-yard field goal, and then you'll see the difference in the game. So that's the way it went for the weekend for those 2 teams.
You know, Kenny, the one thing, too, about, let's go back to the Cincy-Pittsburgh game for just a second. There was a play earlier where Shazier, I think he recovered a ball that Bernard fumbled, okay? Now, you can't tell me that isn't an illegal hit by that player as well. And it wasn't called that way. It was called, he was a receiver who was in a position to protect himself. He got hit. He lost the ball. That's a bad call. And look, if I'm Marvin Lewis, I am upset with that because they're not calling it the same way.
Well, whenever it goes to the replay, Blue, and they make the call, you got to take that off the referees on the field.
Right. Once replay has it, you can't argue with it. You just move on. Now, the other 2 games, Kansas City, that's no surprise. They've now won 11 straight games. Their defense is nails. Their quarterback, Alex Smith, is a solid, underrated guy who manages a game well and doesn't make mistakes. And he showed that again. And then, of course, Green Bay, who looked lousy down the stretch. Maybe it had something to do with who they were playing. Competition was better. And Aaron Rodgers, let me tell you something. Had Aaron Rodgers not missed 2 or 3 wide open guys in that game, that's a blowout against Washington. They still won the game convincingly.
Kenny, and plus, what helps Aaron Rodgers, of course, your offensive line blocks, but you get Starks and you get Lacey running the ball well, and that certainly takes a lot of pressure off that passing game.
Well, I tell you, his offensive line is not that good.
No, I know.
You can see guys bull his offensive line back into him, and he had a rough day even with the safeties right off the bat. And Jackson go in and score like he should have instead of wimping out and make 5 points there to getting the 3 points instead of getting the 7. It might have been a whole different ball game. But it showed you that the quarterback wasn't ready. They do a lot of talk about the quarterback should get a big contract. That shows you he's not ready. And I wish Houston would at least let Wheaton play it a little bit.
It might have been 45 to nothing.
I knew it was coming.
He couldn't do no worse. There ain't no way.
You're right about
he had 1 turnover and 4 interceptions. Coach got him ready, but like he was going to put him in, and he let the guy throw 2 more interceptions, and I just went berserk. I'm like, man, let my guy get in and show Ken that he can play. That's all I wanted, and they didn't give him a shot.
He needs to hire you as his agent, I'll tell you that right now. So as a result of the results of this past weekend, let's look at the matchups coming up next weekend. They get better now as we look forward to these. It's going to be a lot of fun watching these matchups. Kansas City, New England, that gets us started on Saturday. Pittsburgh and Denver, a lot of question marks there. Roethlisberger's health, Peyton Manning's health. And then on Sunday, Green Bay, Arizona, that's a rematch game. And then, Seattle at Carolina. Put your hard hats on for that one. There's going to be some head knocking in that one. I guarantee you. These are really good matchups. Really enjoy it. Brian, which matchups or matchup do you like the most in these?
Oh, I like that Seattle-Carolina game, Kenny. I agree with you totally. It's a 1-6 seed playing, but this could easily be for the NFC Championship. I'm anxious to see that one.
Well, and I like the 2 AFC teams on the road to come win, but I like the 2 NFC teams home to win. And I really think that the Kansas, I think that New England wasn't playing good at the end of the year. So I look at them getting beat. I don't see them winning.
Ricky and Ken, if you look for an upset, a road team coming in and winning, you may agree, may disagree. I kind of like KC going into New England and beating New England. I really do. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I could see it happen.
Well, KC got what I'm looking for the Saints to get.
Yeah.
Defense, the defensive line, and defensive back. That's a complete defensive team, and they win your ball games. You can see that yesterday. I mean, regardless of what Houston was going to do, they wasn't better than Kansas City.
And Pittsburgh, as Kenny alluded to, they've got so many questions with Roethlisberger. You've got D'Angelo Williams. You're not sure if he's going to play at the running back position, and then Antonio Brown. Those 3 guys, you take
that's
them,
it.
That's it.
It's all about the health there because I picked the 2 number 6 seeds to get there, Pittsburgh and Seattle. We got a few seconds left, guys. Hall of Fame announcing their finalists this year, Ricky. It was a special thrill for you in 2010. Morton Anderson's a finalist again. I'm looking at the list. Brett Favre gets into me. Marvin Harrison gets in. I think Kurt Warner gets in this first time around. Other than that, Orlando Pace has a shot. Kevin Green a shot. Terrell Davis. I think Morton has a real shot, and the fact that the Saints just honored him, that was something that people take notice of. It gets news, it gets play. Much like before you got elected, people like Pete Finney and somebody else sitting here were helping you nationally to get your name out there, and I think that matters. Don't you think that's true?
Yeah, it matters, but it comes down to he the greatest kicker of all time. So you shouldn't leave him off no how. He done been left off already. I mean, it's time to put him in. Just like Kevin Green. I mean, Kevin Green out 160-something quarterbacks. Like
absolutely, he belongs in.
I mean, he belongs in. So they're putting a lot of guys in, right? Just like Terrell Davis, they're trying to talk about these guys. They had 1 or 2, 3 good years, and they're trying to put these guys in over guys that had a long career. Right. I mean, how many guys played 25 years like Martin?
No doubt. Well, it's going to be fun to see what happens. Morton deserves to get in. Let's hope it happens. It's time now for our sportsNOLA.com trivia question of the evening, and here it is. The Saints will pick 12th in the first round of the upcoming NFL draft. When was the last time the Saints' first round selection did not come from a Power 5 conference school? Think about that. They're famous for identifying guys as free agents and late in the draft from little schools, but what about the last time? It didn't come from a Power 5 conference school. Hot seat next on the Pelicans here on WHNO.